Hello everyone, amateur meteorologist First and Weather here. It is September 20th, 2020, and we have seen the first really nice blast of cool fall air for the 2020 year. Past 2 days, temperatures have been pretty well below average for basically the entire mid-Atlantic, Northeast, and even eastern portions of the Midwest. Have temperatures running about 10 to 15 degrees below average and nice crisp lows with highs in the 60s and even 50s in some spots, and lows actually approaching the freezing point in many areas. And so definitely have broken a few records. This is the GFS model, 2 meter temperature anomaly. This is valid for September 21st, tomorrow. It's another crisp morning for many locations. And after that, the GFS model does show gradual moderation as that trough slowly starts to move, or that ridge slowly starts to move to the east, shifting those winds more from the south. And so you will see some gradual moderation as we go throughout the week, with highs then returning into the upper 70s and 80s for the mid-Atlantic, which is right around normal to slightly above average. And if we look at the GEFS ensemble, you can see that for the long term, it does keep things really kind of seasonal but to average. Then another little high pressure to our north, delivering some cold air. And then as that moves off, we get a return of warmth. And then after that, a nice little trough coming through, delivering another blast of cold air or seasonably chilly air. And after that, you can see it really just has sort of a very wavy jet stream pattern. And this is very typical for fall when you do start to see these a lot of variability in the weather, with a few days of below average conditions, a few days of above average conditions, and that's just a sign of things changing. We are now entering the fall period and leaving that sort of steady summer state where the polar jet stream is well to the north. That jet stream is now receding to the south. And that is definitely showing with these troughs and ridges that we're seeing. And definitely this is a stark contrast from what we saw last year with one of the hottest Septembers on record for the eastern part of the country. And interestingly enough, the warmest or fastest warming month for the eastern United States is actually September. And in recent years, we've had some very warm Septembers. And so it's definitely an interesting trend. Another thing I want to point out is that Septembers with La Ninas forming tend to be below average. And so that's a trend that's again being continued this year with cooler than average or relatively average September for this La Nina year. So it's definitely interesting to see, and I think these cool, crisp temperatures that we're seeing for the next 2-3 weeks, with things not really running too much above average, and the pretty good potential for another couple blasts of seasonably chilly and crisp air as we go into the first week of October, definitely bodes very well for fall foliage this year. The past 2 years have not been too great, but it's certainly looking like this year could be exceptional, especially in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. We could see some very vibrant oranges, reds, and some very nice colors too. And unlike the past few years, I think the peak will actually be a little bit earlier than average this year, especially with the cool, crisp temperatures. I think we definitely will see peaks running about 1, maybe even 2 weeks ahead of schedule, especially in areas that do dip down consistently into the upper 30s and lower 40s. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, switching to the tropics, this is Tropical Storm Beta, and this is the second named storm that is now using the Greek alphabet. So again, just goes to show just how active this hurricane season has been, with those La Nina conditions being favored in the environment. And you can see it's sort of the latest ones are showing that it is losing a bit of strength and just going to these cycles. I do expect it to then regain some organization tomorrow, and then again appropriately weaken. The main threat with this system is really the rain. And as you see from this track, its tropical storm wind field is very large, but it's not really going to have much of a wind threat. More importantly, it's going to basically just train along the coast quite slowly. And so what that does is, as you look at the tracks right here, it's going to go right along the Texas coastline. So anywhere that's within 50 to 75 miles of the storm is going to be consistently pounded with some very heavy rainfall for the next 24 hours or so. And this is reflected in the National Weather Service rainfall forecast. You can see widespread 6 to 10, 4 to 6 inches of rainfall, and this is on top of what has already fallen. So again, some very significant rainfall that we're going to see. So definitely some flash flooding risk and issues for Austin and the surrounding areas. And definitely similar to Harvey, but of course not quite severe. But again, this is definitely going to be a big rainmaker, and that is clearly the biggest threat with this system. And now finally, just want to show you guys the all hazards weather map. You can see we have freeze and frost warnings actually in place for large portions of the Northeast, northwestern Virginia, eastern West Virginia, parts of Pennsylvania, New York, and also large portions of central and northern Maine. So again, a very cool, crisp air mass coming in, delivering some nice frost and freezes for many localities. So definitely just goes to show the extent of this cool air mass. But again, in summary, this should start to moderate by Monday or Tuesday, and we should return to seasonably average conditions by the time we reach Wednesday. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I just wanted to keep it short, and I'll see you next time.